So I'm Darren. I'm a teacher by trade. I work in psychology and communication, and for many, many years, I have worked with professionals and business minded people on how they think and decide and follow through in order to meet their objectives or goals. Today's session is not about positive thinking. It's about how the brain actually builds a direction so you can move in 2026 and beyond to the future in directions that matter to you personally and your business. Now, everyone here listening now is already visualizing 2026. Everyone. Most people just don't realize they're doing it. And they're doing it outside of their awareness, unconsciously. The brain, the brain doesn't move towards goals. This is an important thing that a lot of people do not understand. The brain does not move towards goals. It moves towards clear internal representations. Your brain operates on neurological, biochemical, electrical signals moving around at speeds that we can't quite imagine. You know, this is why sometimes when people set a goal, oh, in the new year, I'm going to lose weight. In the new year, I'm going to get a new relationship. In the new year, I'm going to start a new business. People set all these goals and notice what happens pretty soon into the new year for most people. Their focus starts to drift because the way that they have set their goals, the way that they've looked at their goals in their mind's eye, it has not been effective. You know, people have strong intentions to do these things, but very weak execution. And what you might notice with humans is they've got this very strong January motivation, or sometimes December if they start thinking then. But then by the time it's March of a new year, lots of confusion, lots of shame around failure and not doing as well as they originally wanted to do. This is quite normal. Now, one of the things that I have noticed over the years, and I've been looking at things like visualization and goal attainment since I was a little child. I remember being a really small boy and noticing that the adults around me, they would always say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And as a child, I would notice that many of the people around me, they were not doing and not succeeding in the things that they said they would do. And I was thinking as a child, what is this about? Why is this? Here's one of the things. One of the things is to do with language, whatever your language is. One thing that people rarely notice is that language quietly places our attention in time. Our language places our attention in the past or the present or the future, our attention. You ever notice what happens with people who focus too much on the past, the past, the past, the past? Or people that focus too much on the present, the present, the present, and others that are always only ever in the future? The brain follows the placement of where you place your attention. For example, in language, somebody might say, I will try to establish a new business. I will try to establish a business. This would suggest that their attention is out in the future. They're not thinking about building the business now. Instead of saying, I will try to build a business, much more powerful if you say, I am building a business. Obviously, I'm speaking in the English language. This is my main mother tongue. But in whatever language you speak, there's going to be different ways that makes it that in your language, whatever language you speak, your mind's attention will be taken to the past or the present on the future. So again, instead of saying things like I want to, quite often I speak to a lot of American entrepreneurs and they say, I want to have a successful business, versus where I try to help them change their own languaging and say, I'm working on the success of my business. Just tiny little things like changing the language will change and take your attention in the right place. Even words like hope and try, these keep the future at a distance. I don't like the word try. Try presupposes that there's a chance of failure. If I'm doing something, I'm not thinking about failure at the same time as thinking about doing the things. Language, the words you use, that places action in the present, tells the brain this is already in motion. Again, different language, whether you speak Hindi or Urdu, Gujarati, English, Spanish, Italian, different languages organize time differently, but the principle is universal. Where language places attention, awareness follows. Visualization isn't imagination for fun, and it's not for wishful thinking. It's how the brain codes anticipated experience before action. Visualization is literally how the brain codes experience, whether it is experience you have already had, experience you are currently having, or experiences that you hope to have in the future. This is what the brain does. For those of you interested more in the neurology and the structure of the brain, the visual area of the brain, which is at the back of your head, it's called the occipital lobe. You don't need to remember this, but just know there's a visual area of the brain and it responds to imagined experience more similar to real experience than most people expect. So whether you remember something that really happened or you imagine something that imagine something as if it did happen, your brain struggles to understand the difference. It's all the same to the brain, all the same. And by the way, if anyone has any thoughts or comments or questions or anything like that, feel free to use the room chat. And as soon as it's appropriate, I'll have a look and I'll incorporate that into what we're talking about here today around the subject of visualization. Visualization. Something worth mentioning here. Seeing uses the eyes. Imagery uses memory and construction. The brain is less interested in the source of where it came from, and it's more interested in the structure. That's all. You see, over years of teaching, I have noticed a few consistent patterns in how successful people internally represent their outcomes, their goals, their objectives. When people are thinking about their goals in their mind, and I want you to think about some kind of goal that you have in your business or personal life. Think of one of your goals as I talk about these things. When a person is representing their goal or their outcome in their mind, if they're seeing the goal in color, this signals importance. If they are seeing their goal in black and white, no color, this signals distance. If they are looking at their goal in the mind's eye, clarity, so if the image is clear in your mind, clarity creates movement. Vague, fuzzy images in the mind, this creates delay. The mind is less certain with vague imagery. When you're looking at your goal in your mind's eye, movement feels like it's definitely going to happen. If you can see your goal in your mind's eye and you're seeing moving things and things are moving all over the place, this makes your brain feel, yes, this is happening. If you're looking at a still image, nothing moving, this feels optional. Like, I could do this image, or I could do a different image to go forward. As you look at the images in your mind's eye about your goals, there is a difference between when you are inside the image in your mind. So you are looking at a situation through your own eyes, feeling through your own skin, hearing through your own ears. If you're looking through your own senses at your goal, this creates a feeling of ownership. However, if you're looking at your goal in the future, and at this goal, you can see an image of yourself in the goal doing whatever, this creates analysis. This is a reason I work with many people who do procrastination, putting things off. Many people who do procrastination, they can see an image of themselves in their mind, cold image, distant, no movement. You know, not all, but many, and this is very common. You see, the thing about good leaders know when to step into the image and see it through their own eyes. And good leaders know when to step back and imagine seeing themselves doing things. Again, if anyone has any comments or questions, or if anything that I'm saying is not quite landing, I'm an open book. Like I say, I've been into this visualization stuff for a very, very long time now, academically, personally, watching other people around me, studying different types of Western psychology, la da 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 da. I love the subject of visualization. It's one of those things, you know. Again, if you do not take control of your own visualizing, your brain will do it on your behalf. Your unconscious mind will take control of all your visualization and have you acting on your issues given to you by your mother, your father, your culture, your friendship circles, the context that you exist in. Is it not a good idea to take control of your own brain? For you entrepreneurs and business people in the room, think of one business outcome you would like to see take shape in 2026. Just one. Just one. And notice what comes into your mind, the imagery that comes into your mind as you think of this goal in your business. Is it near or far? The image that comes into your mind, is it clear or unclear? Is it still or moving? And whatever's going on for you, I invite you to make one gentle adjustment, something that makes the image of the goal completion more compelling, more attractive. You will know when you've done the right thing because you will feel something shifting in your body. You will feel even more motivated. Sometimes I think of goals that I want and I look at it in my mind's eye and I realize that it's not big enough. It's not bright enough. It's not colorful enough. It's not enough movement going on in the image in my mind's eye. And I change that. This is one of the beauties of being a human being as opposed to being a rat or a pig. We can change our own internal representation and change the coding of our own brain. You're not changing the goal, you're changing how the brain relates to it. This reminds me of somebody I was talking to a couple of years ago, actually here on Clubhouse. And they were telling me that they want to make a lot of money in their business. And I asked them to close their eyes for a moment. And I said, how do you represent that in your mind? A lot of money for your business. And they said they were struggling for a little while. And then they got up an image of a big pile of dollar notes. So this was somebody in America. So it was the American dollar. And they said, as they looked at this big pile of dollars, this image was very, very far away. And the image was black and white. Now that's problematic because American dollars are like a green kind of color, so washed out green. But they were looking at these dollars, this big pile of dollars in black and white, and the image was very far away from them. And they said as they looked at the money, they felt fear. Now, I don't know about you, but if you close your eyes and you think of money and you have feelings of fear happening unconsciously deep down inside you, this might affect the way that you conduct business. This might affect how you behave when it's time to ask for the sale. I help that person to change their feelings around this instead of the cold feeling that they could feel on the inside. I help them to have change the feeling and make it warmer. Put some movements, have the pile of dollar notes, and maybe have some elephants dancing around the money or something, whatever to make the person smile. I can't remember exactly what I did. I just remember we had to change that representation. Welcome to OBM on Clubhouse. Thank you for being here today. I'm just looking, I've seen a glimpse of something in the chat. I'm just looking now. Minato says, I usually exaggerate when setting goals. Is there any framework to set realistic, achievable goals and build systems around it? Interesting. That is two questions. Is there any framework to set realistic, achievable goals and build systems around it? Yeah. Yes, and I'll answer that one definitely. Now, some of you in this room, not all, but some of you in this room will be aware that in business there is a concept often used in business known as SMART goals. SMART. I'm not going to focus on that, but I want some of you who are already aware of this kind of business objective setting of SMART goals. It somehow tracks onto what I'm about to share with you. SMART goals usually stands for make your goal, your objective in the business specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. That's when you're setting objectives in business. Very useful. All the biggest organizations on planet Earth, they use SMART goals, SMART objectives in order to lead their teams. However, as a human being, as a human being, you need to do something slightly different, just very slightly different from SMART goals. SMART is a framework that works amazingly for business and objectives. When I set goals for my business, I write it down in SMART goals. I will make 100,000 of such and such a currency by such and such date through the delivery of such and such within a specific target market audience. For a business, this is a very, very excellent way of setting objectives. For you as a human, I will share a framework of setting achievable goals for you as an individual. So thank you for the question. Thank you for the question, and hello, Gita. In one of the practices that I do, so I'm a master and trainer of something called neuro-linguistic programming. It's an approach to human excellence, studying the psychology of human excellence. And in neuro-linguistic programming, I'm just going to say NLP for short, much easier. In NLP, the framework that we use for helping humans to have personal objectives, which are much more likely statistically to manifest and come true, we have this framework. If you have a pen or a pencil or a phone next to you, feel free to write down these parts, Minato or anyone else. In NLP, we say if you want to achieve something in the future, first, you must state your goal in the positive. In the positive. What this means is um, uh, a bad idea of a goal is I don't want to. I no longer want. I want to give up. I want to get rid of. Any sentence that starts like that is stated in the negative. Many people right now, I tell you, many people right now in the world that I'm from and many other worlds, they're already saying stuff like, I don't want to smoke anymore in 2026. I don't want to be in bad relationships anymore. I don't want to keep failing. Excuse me? If you're saying I don't want to, and then you're speaking about the thing that you're saying that you don't want, you are guiding your attention towards the thing that you don't want, which means your brain thinks that you do want it. Even if you say, I want to get rid of, I want less of, la da 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 da. If you have inside your brain imagery of the thing that you are claiming you do not want, there's an increased likelihood of you getting it. So, step number one of having a goal in this framework is state your goal in terms of what you want. State it in the positive tense, what you want. Your brain only cares about the imagery of what you want. Part two of this framework, do you really want this goal? And this goal that you're saying that you want, is it for the good of all the people that you really care about? In NLP, we call this ecology. So, part two, do you really want this goal? Is it good for you and good for the people that you explicitly care about? Again, this is referred to as ecology. I was reading a story the other day of somebody in the United Kingdom, where I'm originally from. I'm currently sitting in Southeast Asia in the Philippines. But in England, there is a guy whose job it was to collect the garbage every week in a garbage truck. In England, this is considered maybe like a low level worker, but their wages in England is very good for the person who collects the garbage. Very good. And this guy, he won, I want to say 14 million British pounds, maybe $16 million for you Americans I can see in the room down there. I don't know what this is in rupees. Maybe somebody wants to do it. But about 14 million British pounds, this garbage truck worker, he won. But here's the thing, he won 14 million British pounds, which was obviously good for him. He had a lot of fun doing all kinds of things. About 2 or 3 years later, all the money was gone. And he went back to go and get a job doing as a garbage collector. It was not ecological for him to have this much money. He wanted to be broke. It was not good for him and all concerned. Probably when he got the 14 million pounds, probably his family was saying, "Hey, you have 14 million pounds. I want to start a new business. Can you help me with like some money?" Maybe his best friend said, "Hey, I have so many debts. You could help me right now just by giving me a bit of money. Can you help me?" This garbage worker he met and hung around with lots of women of the night, as we maybe call them in England, and he wasted all his money on random women who just wanted to be around him because he had this money. Now the money is all gone. It was not ecological for him to have achieved this objective of having so much money, and he did not know what to do with it. Part three of this framework: specificity. Be specific in what you want to achieve. Instead of saying, "I want to be rich," be more specific. I want to have, I mean, it's difficult. I can't think in rupees, I'm afraid, because I don't know the exact conversion. So I'm going to speak in British pounds if this is okay. I could do Filipino pesos or American dollars, but I don't think it would be relevant. But instead of saying, "I want to be rich" to English people, you say, "I want to be able to look at my profit and loss accounts and notice that for 3 months in a row, my business has been in profit by at least 10% of whatever my capital investment was." Super specific. Or instead of saying, "I want to change my weight," what about saying, "I want to change my weight and I will be 14 pounds lighter than I was at the time of making this statement"? Be specific. Specific is terrific. I like it. Who, what, when, where. Don't worry about the how. You make the picture in your mind very specific. You can work out the how later. So specific. The same specific used in the SMART framework used for business objectives. The fourth part of this framework, because this is how the brain works: how will you know that you have achieved this goal? How will you know that you have achieved this goal? And you must answer this question in sensory specifics, because this is how the brain works. When you have achieved your goal, what will you see? What will you hear? How will you feel? I was talking with somebody. I'm thinking of one person now. I was talking with somebody, another person from Clubhouse. I've mainly been on Clubhouse hardcore for the last 5 years, so I always refer to Clubhouse people. And I was talking to this person who later on became my client, and she was talking about she wanted to um, get her business started. Very, very good coaching skills, very good communicator, very good hypnotic voice. She had all of the necessary things, a lot of knowledge, but she had no knowledge of business. She was making $0. This is America. $0 a year in her business. I was trying to help by using as gentle as possible. Sometimes I cannot be gentle with these things, but with this lady, I was trying to be as gentle as possible to point out you do not have a a business. If you're telling me you did not make $1 last year, and I said to her, "Okay, so what do you want to achieve?" And she said what she wants to achieve. She wants the business to be making X amount of dollars every month. I said, "Okay, after your business has succeeded, whatever it is you refer to as succeeded, what will you see or hear or feel that lets you know that you have succeeded?" And she said something, I can't remember exactly, so parts of this I'm making up, but the principles stay the same. She said something along the lines of, "Oh, I'll just feel good." I said, "Feel good? You can go and feel good right now by going and making a cup of lovely ginger and turmeric tea mixed with some honey." Sorry, that's what I had this morning. And she said, "No, no, no, I'll feel good on the inside about my business." I said, "Okay. So that's what you will feel. You'll feel good on the inside about your business." I said, "What will you see? What will you hear?" She said, "See? Um, um, she said. I said, what are you, like a motorbike trying to start up?" She said, "Oh, it's difficult. It's difficult." I said, "No wonder you are not having incoming in your business. You have no, not even you, your brain and nervous system have no idea what to look for. You have not told your brain and your nervous system what it must be searching for." So, very gently, I guided her, and we worked out, by the time we were finished with a professional NLP conversation, we worked out that she will know that she has succeeded in achieving the financial goals for her small business when she can look at and see on the screen of her mobile phone her PayPal account. And she will be able to put the setting to last 3 months, and her PayPal account will show revenue of, and I can't remember how many dollars it was, so I'm not even going to make up a number. Her PayPal account screen will show revenue of X amount of dollars. And she will see the PayPal screen colorful. The PayPal's brand colors, I believe it's like blue and yellow and some other colors. So I made sure she saw it in terms of the brand color, seeing the PayPal logo in her mind, seeing the screen on her mobile phone. I even made her tell me what brand of mobile phone she has. She has to tell the brain what it will see once it has already achieved success, because this is how the mind is programmed. Oh, sorry, the brain is programmed. For those of you who aren't aware, for those of you who have an interest in the mechanisms of this stuff, earlier along in this talk, near the beginning, I mentioned that there is a part of your brain in the back of the brain which specializes in managing visual input. In neuroscience, it's referred to as the primary visual cortex. This processes all information that comes in through your eyes. So information comes in through your eyes, and then all the way through your visual nerves, all wrapped in a bundle, and hits the back of the brain. Now, some of these nerves in the bundle of wiring that hits the back of the brain, some of these nerves specialize in processing how bright or how dark an image is, whether there's color or no color. Some of these nerves specialize in noticing if images are moving upwards or moving downwards. Some of these nerve cells specialize in noticing if something is moving or it's not moving. You have specialized neurons stroke nerve cells in your brain that are very, very specific to different aspects of the picture and images you can see out in front of you. This is why it's very important when you are visualizing your goal to be very, very specific about what it is you can see. Because if you do that, then you are programming your brain in a way that the brain understands. So again, instead of saying I want to be rich, it's better if you tell your brain I want to be able to look at the PayPal screen on my iPhone XR and see that I have made X amount of rupees or dollars or whatever over a 3 month period. Specific. The fifth part of this framework, the fifth and final part of this framework is, and this is where many people mess up. The fifth and final part of this framework from neuro-linguistic programming is, what's your own part in this goal? Your own part. Too often, people set goals and objectives and outcomes which can only be achieved if somebody else does something, which can only be achieved if other people do something. I mean, it's all well and good to say, I want to have a happy and amazing relationship, but there are two people in that relationship. Only 50% of the power of you having that relationship is yours. The other 50%, it belongs to the universe, to God, to the other person. But it's not within your power. So the fifth and final part of this framework is, what is your own part? If you are setting goals that rely on the outside world, on other people, then you are reducing the statistical probability and likelihood of you manifesting whatever it is you set out to do. This is why it's very, very important to be careful about how you set goals and objectives for making money. Making money relies on other people giving you the money. So how do you set goals around money? I hear some of you screaming. Well, you have to show up 100% inside your 50%. You have to show up communicating, demonstrating, and delivering value. That's your own part. You can only set a very clear and powerful and compelling outcome by focusing on your part, showing up as being somebody who communicates and delivers value. If you do this in the right way for whoever your target audience and target customer is, then they will hand over the money. Simple. So own part. So just quick recap for the framework, and thank you to the person who asked this question. And again, feel free to ask questions, make statements, come to the stage, whatever, if you want to get involved in this conversation. State your goal, your outcome in the positive. Talk about what you want. If you find yourself referring to what you don't want, stop. Press the brakes. Stop the whole vehicle. And reframe and talk about what you do want. If you keep feeding your mind with what you don't want, your brain will think, oh, this person wants more of what they don't want. Two, ecological. Is it good for you and all the people that you love, that you care about? Three, be specific. Who, what, when, how much? Four, evidence based. What will you see, hear, and feel that lets you know that you have achieved your outcome, your goal? And the last part, what is your own part in this? What's your own part in this? I love that I'm giving this talk here today at this particular time of year. You know, as a wonderful person whose name I shan't mention because they might be in this room right now said to me yesterday, this is a spiritual alignment. This has happened for a reason that I'm here today on this date. Many things happened all at the same time to make it that today is the date. There are many people right now, billions of people all around planet Earth, saying Happy New Year, or whatever version it is in their language. Many people. Happy New Year. But what does that mean? Do they really mean it? Or is it something people just say? Here in Southeast Asia, when you walk down the street, people who you don't know, complete strangers, are just shouting, Happy New Year, Happy New Year, Happy New Year at each other. But what does this mean? In England, if you're in England, people randomly, usually drunkenly, are shouting "Happy New Year, Happy New Year!" Woo! And these same people who are saying "Happy New Year," inside they are unhappy. Inside they have no positive visions for the future, for their business or personal life or whatever. They say "Happy New Year" out of habit. Hmm. Me, I prefer to say "Happy New Year" or a version of it to less people in a much more specific way. Yesterday, who was I talking to? Oh, yes, I was talking to a lady yesterday, a good friend of mine. I've known her for 20 something years. And she sent me a message, and one of those, those little pictures that people send to each other on WhatsApp or whatever, just saying Happy New Year. She sent me a message saying Happy New Year. And it gave me an idea. And I do graphics and video editing. So I quickly made a video and I sent it back to her saying, have a wonderful year filled with neuro-linguistic goodness, where every single goal that you set out to achieve and end up achieving fills you with joy and happiness. Happy New Year. I mean, this is me. I really want to define what I mean by Happy New Year because I actually want the person to experience happiness. For anybody in this room right now who is an entrepreneur, either they are going into business or they are in business or they have experience around the field of business, I want you all to have a prosperous new year. If at this current moment you know nothing about sales and marketing and customer retention and building a business online and all these things, I want you to have an educational Happy New Year. You see, much more meaning if much more specific. For those of you in this room who are not very entrepreneurial, not very business minded, I love you too. And I hope that you have a wonderful new year and you achieve more things, more positive things in this new year than you've ever achieved before. And also, something I'm doing for many people, while everyone's still saying Happy New Year, is I'm wishing everybody the strength to get through those moments in life where everything is not so happy. Because the more specificity, the better. The more I can get you to imagine and see in your mind's eye what it is you're moving towards, the better. Now, I'm going to slow down and stop soon because I want to say hello to all the wonderful people who've joined me here on the stage. Hello, hello, hello. And also, um, one thing that I wish to touch on, because again, a wonderful person yesterday asked me about the relationship to what I'm saying and something around spirituality. And if anyone wants to ask specific questions, feel free. But I was thinking about this yesterday around matters of the spiritual nature, whether you are Muslim, Christian, Jain, Hindu, whatever. I personally, I see spirituality and psychology as working at different layers of the same human system. Spiritual traditions speak to meaning and values. I operate, and the business that I do operates at one layer below that. How the brain implements intention. So, whatever belief system somebody holds, the nervous system still organizes attention, perception, and action. I'm just looking at the chat. Happy New Year to everybody. Gita, yep, it uses visualization techniques. Good, 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 good. Um, I'm seeing Gita saying, can you share any proven technique in visualization with real life example? One thing I should say, just because there might be people in the room with who are from the sciences, there is no such thing as proven. No such thing as proven. I'm still going to answer your question and give you as much value as I feel I can, Geeta. Um, but in science specifically, nothing is ever proved. There is only evidence to support the existence of something or evidence against the existence of something, but nothing is ever proved. There are things that seem to work for many, 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 many people versus things that do not. But I just want to say that, because if I don't say that, then people in the room who maybe they went to university and they've done a Bachelor of Science or a Master's of Science or a PhD or something, they will say, "Oh, you were speaking about proof, and there's no such thing as proof." And then they want to start these arguments with me. I am a scientist, but I get it. Techniques which have a lot of support in this thing. Bum, 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 bum. Something that I'll tell you, something that I tried last year. Not even tried. I did it because I know it works. Again, the way we hold an image in our mind, depending on how we represent it, colorful, black and white, moving, still, blah, 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 blah. The way we hold an image in our mind or a goal in our mind, this is something that, using science, using brain imaging, brain scanning technologies at the top universities in the United States of America, at Stanford and Yale University, these are the top universities over there. Um, there are many brain scanning studies which have been done in neuroscience to demonstrate that the way you hold an image in your mind impacts directly your behavior. So last year I thought, ooh, why don't I use some of these principles for myself? So last year, well, I'm saying last year, but at the end of 2024, going into 2025, I brought up the image of 2025. And actually, I'm going to talk in the present tense because otherwise I'm going to confuse myself by saying all of the years. Do this now, some of you. Gita, bring up the image 2026 in your mind. Bring up this number in your mind. Try to bring it up as an image in your mind, 2026. And notice how this looks in your mind. We can look at how you look at 2026. Is it the image of this number? Is it big and bright? Is it close up? Is it clear or is it fuzzy? Is the image of 2026, is it very close to your face or is it very far away? Looking at the surface of the number 2026, is it made out of wood, concrete, jelly, concrete, cement? Bright and golden. Ooh. If it's bright and golden, can you see the rays of bright color of gold shining out of it? Is there a shimmering shine? Is there movement as you look at 2026, the number in your mind's eye? And as you look at this image in your mind, what do you feel in your body? Notice what feelings come up. If there's no feeling, you will not be motivated to care about this number. More positive. Nice one. Good. And notice that feeling of more positive. Notice where in your body that feeling is. And as you notice where in your body is that feeling, which chakra, or where specifically, chest or heart, wherever you want, whatever. As you notice, oh, in your heart and mind, and notice that feeling in your heart and mind. Notice, is this feeling moving or is it still? Is it a warm feeling or a cold feeling? Notice the shape of this feeling. Excitement. Nice. And notice just how excited that is and how that feels. Because Gita, you see that energy there? That makes me want to say to you, have an exciting 2026. And also, the other thing that this serves to do is having you focus on the image of 2026 and have some kind of feeling in your body of excitement in your heart and mind, more positive, bright and golden. From now on, for the rest of this year and even out beyond that, every single time you see the number 2026 on a screen, in your mind, on paper, on a contract, on a sales document, on an advertisement, every single time you see 2026, I want you to notice the effect that it has on you, the positive effect that it has on you, and strengthen that by every single time. What would it be like if every single time you saw the number 2026, it made you smile and made you feel excited on the inside? I mean, maybe if you're at a funeral or something and you see 2026 somewhere, you might not want to smile in that context. So, smiling on the inside is a whole thing. You can smile in your heart and smile in your mind as you continue to feel more positive. I hope this makes sense.